Hi, I'm Liz with Missouri Star Quilt Company, and today I'm going to show you how to make what we're calling the apple core pouch. It looks like this in vinyl and this in fabric, and while the pattern shows you both, I'm really excited to show you the vinyl today. It also uses our apple core template, which I'm sure you have, and it makes a great quilt, but it also makes this really easy pouch, and I have made a dozen of these already. I'm really addicted, especially because it uses our new vinyl, and the Missouri Star Fancy Vinyl. This glitter is super soft and supple, and it is really easy to turn. So I'm really excited to show you how to use this today. Let's get started. So to make this vinyl pouch, I'm going to show you how to cut the vinyl using the apple core template, which is really easy. Then we're going to attach the zipper and stitch on the sides and the bottom. It could not be faster. Again, I've made like a dozen of these because they're super addictive. I'm going to use today this pink glitter vinyl, and I've been using pink on everything, but today I'm also going to use a white zipper so you have an easier time seeing on camera what I'm doing, because the pink blends in really nicely, which is great, but harder for you to see there. So first thing I'm going to do is when I open up the vinyl and peel it back, it is cut nice and straight at the top and the bottom. So I'm going to line it up on my mat, and I'm going to cut a 10-inch strip because we have a 10-inch apple core template. And long rulers, great for this. It's 16 inches wide, so your 15-inch ruler is almost long enough, and you can be brave and just go right off the end, or a nice long ruler is even better. So I'm going to line it up here on the 22 because I'm on 32. And just right along the edge of the ruler, cuts like butter. Now I'm going to fold it in half because I'm actually going to be able to get a template for 2 out of this 10-inch strip. So I'm going to match up my corners. It's a little hard to see because it's got that transparency, but I can see it in front of me. I'll line those up, and I'm actually going to crease this down at the bottom, and that crease is going to come out later. I'm going to show you my favorite trick for this vinyl. So I'm going to crease that down, and then I'm just going to put my apple core template right on here, and you can see the points line up, and I can actually just roll around it and get 2 templates cut out. So I'm going to start here. And then I'm comfortable cutting this like this. Oops. And then I'm going to rotate the whole thing around. And I'm just pressing a little bit of pressure down to hold the template in place. You can also, if you have sticky grips, that works great. But the vinyl itself has a tiny bit of stickiness that this actually just takes advantage of. So I've rotated around, I'm going to go here. And last but not least, the inside curve. Okay, and that is how we've cut out 2 of the vinyl pieces. And the other thing I want to show you is that it's really soft and supple and thin. I can crumple it up and it's not tearing it, which is super great. So we're going to use this to make our pouch. And like I said, I'm going to use a white zipper on this one, but you can mix and match and do whatever you'd like. What I'm going to do again is find the center, so I'm going to fold and crease again. I'm just going to use my fingers to put a little crease in there inside, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other side while I'm at it. So I'm going to line up those cut edges and put a little bit of a crease there. And this is so I can line it up roughly center on my zipper. So I'm going to do the same with the zipper. I'm going to pull this up, and usually where it came out of the package it's creased, but I'm just going to match up the metal parts and find my center. Like so. And I'm just going to use a couple clips. You could mark it with a pencil, mark it with a piece of chalk, I just want to make sure I know where my center is. Okay, so now that I've got that, I am actually going to take this one off out of the way. What I want to do is take the side that wants to be outside, so the way it curls, I'm going to call the outside. So that's what it wants to be on the outside anyway. So I want the outside facing the back of the zipper. So play along. I know it seems like we always do right sides together. In this case, we're not. We're going to do the front of the bag to the back of the zipper. And as we line this up in the center, so I have that center crease, this mark, I'm going to start clipping this on so you can see just a little bit of the zipper. So this is why I'm using a white zipper now, because it's a little harder to see when I use the pink, but you just want a little bit, maybe 1/8 of an inch. And again, it's not about perfection, but enough showing as you clip. And you're just going to kind of bend it along and add clips as you need. And we're going to clip the whole right side and then come back and clip the whole left side. And these clips, it doesn't matter which way they go. You're going to be stitching this down with the zipper towards your machine. So if that matters to you which way the clips face, that is easy to figure out. Okay, so now I'm all clipped. So now let's talk about how we sew with vinyl. So I'm going to show you on my machine what I'm going to do to set up. It's really easy, and once you have, you're good to go. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure that my stitch length is at least a 2.5, but I would like it to be a 3. The longer stitch length means there's less perforation, so it's less likely over time to kind of come apart. So with the longer stitch length, so I'm set to 3. I have a zipper foot on, so I'm going to use my zipper foot setting, which for my machine is a 2, so I've got that set. And with my zipper foot, you can do this with a regular foot, but we're sewing on a zipper, so a zipper is easy with a zipper foot. What I've also done is added masking tape. This is my best hint for sewing with vinyl. We've got masking tape at home. You're just going to cut off a little piece, and you're going to put it right on there. In fact, I will show you exactly how I did it. So with my tape, I'm going to just line it up with one edge and kind of cut it off or tear it off. And then you can put another piece. What you're doing is just building enough grip that the vinyl doesn't try to stick to your machine. So we talked about that was really handy when we were using the ruler, not so much handy when you're trying to sew. So the masking tape is my best trick. You can also use tissue paper or copy paper. If you don't have masking tape, you're just going to put that tissue paper or copier paper between this and your presser foot. So I'm just kind of tearing down the side. You can use scissors. I know we're not supposed to use fabric scissors on tape, so I'm trying to be good for y'all. But I am going to cheat because there's also now tape where my needle would go. So that's good, but also not great. So I have a little pair of clips here, snips, and I'm just going to snip in at those two edges. Okay? And then I'm going to use my nail to kind of push that masking tape up and away. You see that? So I'm going to do that on both sides. And now my presser foot is ready. And it will slide right along the vinyl. Okay, so I'm going to put this back on my machine. And now I am ready. So again, the zipper is going to go towards the bed of the machine. And I am going to line up my zipper foot like so. So I'm lined up so that I am going to be stitching right along the zipper itself. And away we go. I'm gonna go slow and steady. I'm not gonna take off running a race. And I'm just gently helping it around the curve, clip by clip. I'm going to kind of pull the zipper in because it wants to go out this way. So we're staying even. Okay, now kneel up and I'm going to cut the threads. And I'm going to flip this. I'm going to press this and just kind of finger press it because you're not going to take an iron to vinyl. Repeat after me. I will not take an iron to vinyl. But if it is not doing what you want it to do, you're going to get a hairdryer and you're going to put it on the lowest setting and you're going to wave it at this a couple of times and the next thing you know it's going to be soft and supple. So if it's not rolling for you, grab a hairdryer, but not an iron. So we're just going to kind of finger press that and now I'm going to go and make a second line of stitching real close to the outside here. And you can see that because it's nice, bright, and pink. So now that I'm making my second line of stitching, I'm going to go ahead and back stitch at the beginning and end because I want that to hold really comfortably once I snip all of the extra zipper off. And we're just following the edge. And then when I get to the end, I'm going to backstitch again. All right. So here's what I've got so far. Got one nice, neat edge where the vinyl is even tucked in itself but hidden by the zipper, which is really sleek and no rough edges to catch on anything. All right, so now that we've sewn the first half, we're going to flip it over and show how to do the second half. So we're going to flip it over so the zipper back is facing up, and we're going to line up this vinyl bag. And you're going to see it's not, make sure you can see this, it's not like it's going to line up on these sides, but the centers will be roughly in the center. And if we have those crease marks again, you can use those as markings. And then we're just going to clip around the outside, leaving just a little bit of the zipper tape showing to cover up our second line of stitches. So really easy. We just flipped, clip, and we'll stitch. And then one more time, our zipper tape is going to be facing the bed of the machine, and the vinyl is going to be facing the masking tape on the bottom of the presser foot. Okay. All right, so just like before, I'm not going to worry about top stitching this first bit because we will top stitch when we flip. And if these don't end up perfectly even, it's not a big deal. We're going to trim the zipper on either side so it doesn't have to be perfect there either. It's actually a very forgiving project. And again, I'm going to pull the zipper over to match up the vinyl. we'll stop there, trim, and now we're going to be ready to flip over. But I don't want to stitch through this vinyl, so now I'm going to open the zipper, and then I will roll this back like we did before, kind of finger pressing it. And again, before we go too far, I'm going to trim all these threads, because the thing that annoys me the most is when I missed one and then it's caught in a place I can't get to it again. It's not the end of the world. It's totally still a very functional, beautiful bag. But if that drives you crazy too, that's how to catch it. So we're going to roll it forward, and we're going to stitch really close to the end of the zipper tape all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to slide the zipper under. And this is just rolled, so I'm using my finger as long as I can, and then the zipper foot will hold and do the rest. Just easing it around the curve. And I'm pretty happy with these lines of stitching, but I would usually match the zipper. Oops, and I'm going to make sure I backstitch. And I forgot to backstitch on the other side, so I'm going to go back and do that. I want it to be nice and strong. Get all my threads out of the way. Come back in here and backstitch, just to give it a little extra. Okay. So, like I said, I'm pretty happy with that. Those lines of stitching. That's still even going to get caught in a seam, but what I want to remember is that the easiest way to hide anything is to match the thread color to the project. So, if I were using white thread, you wouldn't see my stitching at all. That's not too bad. All right, so now we have the outside all nice and tidy and the inside all nice and tidy. And we are going to sew up the two sides. I'm going to start with the one away from the zipper pull. So I'm going to line up the vinyl, and I'm going to crease it down here. And I am just going to sew a 1/4 inch all the way up here to the zipper ends, teeth. Okay, so I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch all the way up the side and stop at the zipper teeth. Now this time, I could switch to a 1/4 inch foot, but I am just going to stay with my zipper foot because it's easy enough. I don't need to worry about back stitching at this point because we're going to box these corners and cut that away anyway. So just a nice even stitch, and it curves just a little bit, so you're going to be gentle with it. So I've come right up to the teeth and stopped, and now I'm going to back stitch a little bit because I want extra strength and stability here. So I'm going to back stitch to about the end of the zipper tape and then come back up and stop right at the teeth. Okay, then we'll stop there, and I'm going to trim the threads really close so that they don't show later. I'm going to do the same on this other side. And again, I promise you, I'm going to tell you again and again, just cut all your threads nice and close. Now we don't want to sew it to where the zipper doesn't work, so we do need to close the zipper at this time. We're only going to close it about halfway, because we want to be able to use that zipper opening to turn the bag at the end. So now that we are there, we're going to fold the zipper, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to stop right where the teeth would be and backstitch just where that vinyl is. So I'm going to match everything up, press a little crease here, and again I'm going to start at the bottom and go up to the zipper teeth, stop and backstitch. So far so good. We're looking like this. We're going to box the corners. So I'm going to unzip this all the way again, and I'm going to go ahead and trim off the flopsy zipper pieces. So I'm actually going to use full-on scissors and trim that off and trim that off. Okay. I'm going to reach into the bag and unzip it. And what I'm going to do, it's going to be very funny to watch this time, is kind of pinch. So let me show you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a crease along the bottom to match this up against. So I'm going to press the finger, because again, no irons, no irons. Press with your finger. That creates a little crease that I can then line up the seam on that crease and make this little triangle. Okay, then I'm going to pick a direction, one side or the other, and press that down. And I'm going to want to measure up 1/2 inch . And that's where I'm going to stitch. So I'm going to put a clip there on that 1/2 inch mark. See that? It's 1/2 inch from the point. So I'm going to maneuver this clip because I don't want to put any holes in that I can't deal with. So there's about a 1/2 inch mark. Okay, so now I'm going to come back to the machine and I'm going to stitch right across there. One of my best tips too, I'm going to put this back up here so you can see this. Because you're at an angle, that can sometimes get some pulled down into the machine. If that's a problem for you, start a little bit in and backstitch off and then come back on. And that will eliminate that when you're doing box corners. So let me show you what I mean. And when we get to this far end, we're going to backstitch again. Okay. And then we can actually trim that little extra piece of plastic. So I'm going to trim the threads and trim the beginning threads. And then I want about a 1/4 inch. And I'll just clip that right off. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So now's the fun part. And the part that a lot of times might be nervous about what's going to happen when I try to turn vinyl. But again, this stuff is super supple and really easy. So it has that kind of delightful squeak to it. But you can just manhandle it and it's totally fine. So I'm going to use just my fingers. I don't want anything sharp going in here because it will poke through. So I'm just going to use my fingers to poke the corners in. And this 1/2 inch makes this really nice. I like this size bag. It's the pattern's written this size. But you could go deeper on your box corners and it would give you a fatter bottomed bag. It's the only difference you would need to do. But then you just poke out those corners. And then the zipper itself just flips around. And we're going to close it a little bit in order to poke out the last corner. So I hope you can see that. I'm going to use my finger. You can see it through the vinyl. I'm going to use my finger to poke out that corner. And just kind of poke the zipper up into place. And so that edge is finished. And when you zip it closed, that edge is finished. And you can kind of add a couple little creases at the bottom, and your bag is complete. So it was really that easy. And this vinyl, you can see, is not hard to use at all. We actually have two of the glitter vinyl. So there is the pink and a clear. And the clear is very sparkly. So that's the bag. It can be filled with all kinds of goodies. It holds plenty of candy, but I'm gonna use this one to hold all of my clips when I go to my next retreat. And you can use one that has a contrasting zipper, a matching zipper, or I super love the clear glitter because you can put anything you want on there. They're great gifts for anybody. And we have clear glitter, pink glitter, but we also have 2 solids and 2 prints in all the Missouri Star fancy vinyl. I can't wait to see what you make. Use hashtag MSQC Show and Tell to show and tell your bag. Thanks for joining me on this tutorial from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.
Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you aren't already part of the Missouri Star Quilt Company family, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss a thing. And if you click that bell, it'll notify you every time a new tutorial comes out. See you next Friday.